Hey guys, today we're reviewing for our test for expressions and equations part 1. So when we look at this equation, 5 to the third power equals 15, we're trying to figure out if that's true or false. Well, we know it's false because 5 times 5 times 5 is what 5 to the third power means. And 5 times 5 is 25, times 5 more is 125. So we know it's false. 3 cubed is 3 times 3 times 3, or 3 to the third power, and 3 times 3 is 9, times 3 is 27, not 6. So in this one, the person thought that they were taking 5 times 3, which is not the case. And in this one, they thought they were adding 3 plus 3, which is not the case. So 6 squared is 6 times 6, 6 times itself 2 times, which equals 36. So that one's true. And 4 cubed, or 4 to the third power, is 4 times 4, which is 16, times 4 again, which is 64. So it's true. In number 2, they want us to evaluate the expression. The first thing that I do is I rewrite it with 2 being multiplied by itself 3 times on top, and keeping your denominator of 5 on the bottom. So the only thing that you are cubing is the top number. 2 times 2 times 2 gives you 8, and the 5 at the bottom stays a 5. 2 times 2 is 4, times 2 is 8, like we said. So since this number is bigger on top, we take 8 and we divide it by 5, which we know it goes in one time, with 3 remaining. So 1 3/5 is our real answer. If you leave it improper, it's still the correct answer, but it's not simplified. So I want to make sure that you remember to simplify it. The product of y and 4 would look like any of these. Remember, we can use the dot for multiplication, but the algebraic way of doing things now is to use the coefficient and the variable. Okay, so make sure that when you write it for y. Go ahead and make sure that you have that written in red if you didn't do it like this. If you had this one or this one, it's not wrong, but let's write it algebraically. The difference, which means subtract, between 7 and a number. So 7 starts and we're taking their difference, 7 minus a number, which we could call x. You could have used any variable you would like. 14 less than x. In this case, they tell you x, just like up here they told you y. So if you use a different variable, that's not allowed. And 14 less means you're taking 14 away from something, so that's x minus 14. So these two are very different from each other. 14 less means take it afterwards, and just finding the difference between two numbers means you start with whatever number they tell you and you take the other number away. In number 6, Greg went to the school store to buy pens. We're calling them P. Each pen cost $1.75. So he's buying pens. We don't know how many. Each costs $1.75. Write an expression showing the total cost for the pens that he purchases. So if I buy one, I pay $1.75. If I buy another one, I pay $1.75 for that one. So it's repeated addition, which is the same thing as multiplying the number of pens, P, times 175. So remember, we use the coefficient and the variable. Okay, in 7 and 8, we are evaluating the expressions. So in this case, we are taking 6 times a number, which we're plugging in 8 for y in parentheses, and we're taking 2 times the number z in there as well. So we're going to substitute, and we get 6 times 8 is 48, 2 times 15 is 30, and then we subtract because GEMDAS tells us to do the multiplication and division first, and then the addition and subtraction. And remember, we always go from the left to the right. That's why we multiply this one first, and then this one second, and then we subtract. Over here, we're going to plug in 15 for z. 4 times 15 is 60. And then 4 times y, which is 8, 4 times 8 is 32. And then 2 times x, and x is 3. So 2 times 3 is 6. So in this case, we're going to add and subtract from the left to the right now. So we have to do this step first. 60 minus 32 gives us 28. Then add the 6, and we get 34. So make sure that you subtracted before you added, otherwise you'll get a different answer. Okay, let's move on to number 9. Carolyn is installing new wood floor in her bedroom, and she needs to know the area of her floor if her room is 12 feet long. Whoops, I should have circled long. There we go. By 15 feet wide. Use the formula below to help Carolyn with this calculation. So area is the length times the width. So we know that this rectangle is going to be 12 feet by 15 feet. So we take area equaling the length times the width, which is the formula. Plug in your length, we know that's 12. Plug in your width, we know that's 15. And when we take 12 times 15, we get 180, and we label it feet squared, or you can write it out square feet. Why is it feet squared? Because you're making all these little boxes, and each one of these boxes is a foot squared. In this one, number 10, Tony says that y times y is equal to 2y. He is incorrect because y times y equals y squared, and that is not equal to 2y. You can even give an example if you would like to. For example, 10 squared gives you 100, while 2 times 10 only gives you 20, and 100 does not equal 20. So he's incorrect. Finally, let's do number 11, saving the best for last. Okay, so the first thing that they want us to do, oops, didn't mean to do that, oops, still didn't mean to do that, sorry about that. The last thing that we need to do is decide which box each of these fits in. So I like to first think and simplify this one. What's 6 times x? And that's 6x. And what's 6 times 3? And that's 18. So each of these needs to equal 6x plus 18 or 6x plus 3. Otherwise, they go in the neither category. If I do this one, it's 3 times 2x, which is 6x, and 3 times 1, which is 3. So that's why it goes in this box. Over here, 3x and 3x equals 6x, and then add the 3. Those cannot be combined, so it gets this box. Over here, 6 plus x cannot happen, but 6 plus 3 can. That gives us 9. And then we can add this 6 on, which gives us 15. So x plus 15 fits in the neither category. 6 plus 9 doesn't give you either of these, so 6x plus 9 goes in the neither category. 3 times 2x gives us 6x, and 3 times 6 gives us 18, so it goes in this column. 6 times x does work, because remember, 6 times x is just 6x. 6 times 3 also works, which is 18, so it goes in this column. And of course, we know this one also goes in this column because we simplified before. 2 times 3x gives us 6x, but 2 times 1 only gives us 2, so it fits in the neither category. And that's all I have for you today, and I will see you next time.